Well guys, here it is. This is the turd we need to polish. So it's an older Craftsman. I think it has a Briggs engine. 15.5 horse. Looks a little neglected, if not a lot neglected. But we should be able to go through this thing and get it looking somewhat presentable. So that's what this video is all about. How to get the old Craftsman up and running. The only thing I know about it is it does have compression. Well guys, here it is. It cleaned up pretty nice, so I'm happy with that. I've probably already doubled the value of it. Look at those white walls. So now what we want to do is figure out what the deal is. I know the guy said it sat at least 2 years, and he said it wasn't running properly when it sat, so we're going to go through it a little bit here. So the first thing I want to do is hook up my battery charger to it. Battery says April of 2017, and we're in October of 2023, so I doubt it's going to take a charge, but this car starter should start it, so I'll let that run a little on 200 amps. And now we're going to turn our attention over to the air filter. I think I gotta cut these to open it up. Yeah. Well, that doesn't look too bad. And we're gonna see if we can get it to kick off here. Give it a little fuel, and we'll see if she'll crank. Nothing yet. Could just be that the battery's too low. Feel like it's trying to turn. I'm gonna just pop the plug and see if there's gas in the cylinder or something. I did check the oil at the guy's house and it looked good. Low but good. So let me just check the spark plug. I'm going to pull the plug here. Just going to try and crank it over. Alright, I don't know if our starter's not working or what. I did check the engine to turn over at the customer's house, And I did get it to spin around here. Alright, we're going to have to check if we got power at the starter. So I'm just going to probe this with my test light. So I hooked one end up to the negative on the battery. This should light up when I turn the key if we're getting power here. We are, but it's pretty dim. So we're not quite getting 12 volts. So I think at this point I'm going to switch the battery out and just have a fresh battery for testing this thing out because there is some corrosion. So these battery lugs are really corroded and rusted out. There's not a whole lot left. Hopefully I can get these off. This one's okay. It's really the positive side. Oh, we got lucky there. This battery's used, but it's good. Yeah, this terminal's pretty green and crusty, so we'll cut that off, and I'm going to try and clean that up and then put on a new terminal. Let me get something to clean that. Just wire brush this a bit. That looks good. See if I can fit this terminal on. That looks good. That looks pretty good. Way better than this guy. So this is the kit that I use. This has all the battery terminals, and then I just use channel locks, but I also have a hydraulic crimper that really crimps tight. But these work pretty good, especially for smaller gauge wires. Alright, so we'll see if we have power now at the starter. So we'll put our test light back on the battery negative, and we'll turn the key and see if either it cranks or it lights up. There you go. Good connection makes all the difference. Now this thing's soaking wet, so. Alright, so that's good. Alright, so as you can see, there is some oil in there, but I'm going to change the oil now anyhow. Well, actually, I think I want to try and get it firing and running a little bit. We'll get it hot and try and change it. I don't think there's gas mixed in it. Alright, so we'll see if we can get it to fire. Another shot of fuel. And the spark plug looks good. And surprisingly, I didn't see any evidence of mice. This thing was parked in like a barn. It may have had so much oil on it that the mice didn't like it. Alright, so now we'll see if we can get this thing to pop off for us. Well, it looks like she's going to be a runner. I'm going to drain the oil right away, just in case there's any gas that seeped in there. It's been sitting a while. It's pretty common with these engines that the needle and seat and carburetor don't seat. And because of the tank being gravity fed, over time that pressure passes the needle and seat, and it usually either floods the cylinder so that the engine's hydrolocked, which sometimes you got to just pull the plug and get the gas out of there. And the other issue is sometimes the crankcase fills up with gas and oil. So I'm just going to drain that out now and change it. Does look like there is some gas in there for sure. It's really flowing. Thought it was just straight oil, but you don't know until you go and take a look. So we'll let that drain and get that changed. Alright, so now we're on the carburetor side, and what I'm going to do is remove it. I'm going to go through and clean it because it's been sitting a while. And this fuel line is pretty hard, man. So the fuel tank's empty. I'm going to cut about 2 inches off the fuel line. This thing's hard as can be. So I'm going to replace that whole thing. I'm also going to put a fuel shutoff in here. So we got the carb loose. Unplug the solenoid. Pull the choke out of there. And just to a spring and a linkage. So we'll unhook that and undo the spring. Easy as that. So here's the carb. Basically gonna focus on the needle and seat in here. Wow. Definitely some water in there, judging by the rust. Gonna have to cut that fuel line off. Man, is that thing on there. See if I can push this off. Doesn't look like it. There it goes. Yeah, this thing's pretty dirty. So I'm just going to throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner, get it all cleaned up, and we'll bring it back. We're going to work on the needle and seat after I get it cleaned up a little bit. Alright, so we got everything cleaned up. It cleaned up real nice. Now I want to focus on this seat. So I made this little tool. It's a honing tool for the seat. I'll show you how it works. Made this several years ago, and I've fixed a lot of carburetors, these Briggs ones like this. This is a very fine valve grinding compound, so put a fair amount of that on there. And we're going to put this in the drill, and we're going to go in here and we're going to hone out this. This tool is just made from a needle from a Tecumseh carburetor, basically connected to a shaft, connected to the drill. So we'll spin that out real good. Okay, there is some cutting compound in there. And now I'm going to clean the inside of the seat. So we'll put a little more compound on here. Put it in here, and we're just cleaning up the edges of that. Broke off there, guys, so we'll try again. Very gently. That'll get everything smooth as can be, because this is the issue with these. You don't get a good seal here, and then it floods the crankcase with fuel. Alright, and now the other half of this is taking our needle, which I lost. Got like 10 jobs going on here. Alright, here's the needle. So we'll put that in the drill. We're going to grab the end of it, the round part, just like that. And we need a little bit of oil. This happens to be ATF, or automatic transmission fluid oil. It's actually used, but it'll work fine. And then we're going to spin this rubber tip right on there a little bit, and that should work out any grooves. This sandpaper is 1000 grit. Alright, and that's all it takes. I don't know how well you can see that, but looks really good and shiny, and I don't see any grooves in it. So we'll put everything back together. Got this emulsion tube real cleaned, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so I think the next thing we're going to do is just replace the fuel line. I think I can pop that one out. Okay. There we go. And I'll just cut this thing off. Alright. Yeah, I mean, this thing's just so hard that it's best just to take it off to work with it. So we got the new fuel line. So we'll set up our fuel line. Alright, so we're going to start with a fuel filter and then a shut off. So we'll cut this right about here. Put on our clamps. Fuel filter. Okay. Now we're going to do our shut off. Put on a clamp. Okay, and I think now I'm ready to put on the carb. So we're going to start with our choke. Choke goes in this hole right here, and it hooks kind of upside down. So it hooks from underneath, just like that. And then we're going to hook up our linkage over here for the throttle, butterfly, just like that. And then we'll do the spring. There we go. And then we'll fit our choke in. Goes right up in here. It's a little guide that it goes in, so that's all good. And studs go in. Hook up our shut-off solenoid. Fuel line, just leaving it a little long. That should be good, something like that. Put our clamp on there, run this back to the carb. Oh man, what a difference with a flexible fuel line. So that's that. We got this guy, goes on here. And then there's a PCV tube that comes out, hooks on the back. And our two nuts will add oil, and we should be in business. And then this thing's gonna need a tune-up. See what we get here. Alright, so we'll put on a new pre-filter, new air filter, and we can figure out however they had this thing hooked up. I guess I'll zip tie it again Well, they had some zip ties through here, so I think that's what we'll do. You definitely want to keep this cover closed because otherwise you're going to get dirt in your engine. Flip this guy over. There we go. Well, that works pretty good. It's just you got to change it every time you do the air filter. Alright, so plugs back in. We just need oil. So we'll top off the oil and we'll see what we get. I see I put the tank on backwards, but now I can clean that side because it's dirty on the front now, so we'll clean it and add oil. So this engine takes 48 ounces. Looks like I need to shut the thing. There we go. Try that again. We're going to have to top that off.
Big Swell.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm going to run.
Alright. Have fun.
Bye.
I'll just be working on my mower.
What?
I'll just be working on my mower.
You keep making money.
You hear that? That should be good. I'll run it and then check it. I'm going to wash this thing again. This valve is loose down here, so you can never really get a wrench in there on them. But I'll try. If I can't get it with a wrench, I'll do it with a chisel. I'll show you what I mean. So it's a 15/16. Look like I can get a wrench on there a little bit. Can't turn it much, but I can turn it a little bit. That's really what we need. If I could get about 2 more turns. One more. Oh, it's pretty snug. Alright, we need fuel and we should be good. If you can't get a wrench in there, you take a chisel and you smack on the edge of that nut and it'll turn a little bit at a time with a hammer. Fuel her up. Well, it was hard to fill. We'll take the cap off, so I switched that tank back around, made it right. Alright guys, we'll see what we get with this thing. It's got a broken compression release. Also, I got the fuel shut off. I think it has a broken compression release. So if you got one with a broken compression release, if you get up past the hump here, like that, you might be able to kick it over. Alright guys, the thing runs properly, it cuts properly. Still needs to be cleaned a little bit. And I'm pretty sure that there's definitely a bad compression release. I'll check the valves, of course, before I dig into that, but that's going to be on another day. Transmission's good. Gear drive went right up that hill, no problem. The seat switch is a little bit intermittent. I noticed that when I was pulling in the garage here. So the switch works, but it's not quite getting seated all the way. It's like intermittent. But yeah, everything else pretty good here. Unfortunately, I got to put a compression release in it. But other than that, at least it's like a working tractor. So thanks for watching. So guys, I'm pretty happy with that one. It costs about 50 bucks to get the tractor. And the guy gave me some stuff because he was cleaning out. So I can show you what he gave me. But even though I got to put in this compression release, which I really wasn't expecting. He probably didn't know that was the problem though. He told me he didn't know anything about small engines. But one of the things I noticed here, and I'll show you guys, this starter, it's an aftermarket starter. So a lot of times when your compression release goes, people think it's the starter. So they put a new starter on it, they put a new battery in it, and you know, it'll start better, but it's not going to correct the problem. So I'm going to have to actually pop the engine off this thing, but at least I know everything works. And yeah, that's that. So maybe I'll be back with another video on this guy, and I'll also show you what the guy gave me. So these are the freebies. These are all studs for your car tires and some lug nuts. Hopefully it fits some tractors, but we got that for free, and all these valve stems too, which was real nice. Alright guys, so I'm Double Wide 6. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. It was fun hanging out today. And we brought an old tractor back to life. I would take one of these gear drive Craftsman any day over the hydro drives. Way less problems with the transmission. So thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you on the next one.